Two boys, one podcast. Two boys, one podcast. Your movie connection. When it's time for reflecting, we make fun of each other, then do film reviews. Winner or loser, is this movie right for you? Nope, it sucks. Don't press your luck. You better listen to us. Two boys, one podcast.
It has been a minute.
It's been more than. It's been several minutes.
It's been a few.
Those
it's been
minutes,
a few minutes.
They got together and they made an hour, and then those hours got together and they made some days. Those days got together. They made some weeks.
And by the end of this podcast, it will almost seem just as long that we've been talking. Bleed into months.
It was make a year.
Yeah, it hasn't been a year, but it might have been since last year.
It was 2018, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first of 19. That's rough.
What comes after a century? Millennia?
This podcast.
We'd
have to. I mean, I don't know what comes after a century. You'd have to ask Mae West. I hear her from time to time.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, what's she saying?
Nothing appropriate.
I don't.
It's a lot of moans and groans.
She doesn't have an appropriate bone in her body.
Well, right now she doesn't have a bone in her body. That's why she's been looking for you.
Would you like to change that?
Yeah, what have you been up to since last year?
It's all sorts of fun, exciting things. Like asking you what you've been up to.
The same, I guess. I just got back from Utah for the sun dancing.
Did you see a skinwalker? There's a ranch down there.
I heard about the ranch. Missed him though.
Oh. Yeah. Ted Bundy was down there too.
Ted Bundy was in town in more than one way there.
He was?
Yeah. They premiered the Extremely Wicked film with Zac Efron, but also the real Ted made his way through Utah. So it was kind of a mixed reaction
I didn't realize
locally.
That.
Yeah. I think he killed 6 women in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, so I'm sure.
Yeah. They were not necessarily thrilled.
Was he as handsome as they said?
I never met him. Never met the man.
I saw pictures. I don't know. I mean, he had a unibrow. That's kind of weird. It's not very attractive.
It was like the 70s, right?
Still, I mean, that was acceptable.
Frida had a uni.
Yeah, but she was an artiste.
Well, Ted was an artiste of slaying.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, the numbers surrounding him. I don't know how much of it is like folklore at this point, and how much of it is just.
Well, they don't really know. I don't think.
Well, he couldn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the speculation there is terrifying. But
I mean, he wasn't a very good person.
No, I think most people could agree with that.
What about the skinwalkers? There's a ranch. I told you about that.
Have you been there?
No.
Well, why not?
I didn't realize how close it was to where I.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Where I was until recently.
So I mean, they probably will send something to the corner of Afton and Afton.
The Skinwalkers?
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch.
What's it going to be? A Skinwalker?
It's going to be a Skinwalker, yeah.
What's it going to look like?
I mean, I don't even know. Terrifying.
I'm kind of spooked of them.
I think they deserve to be terrifying.
Don't tell them not to send it. Tell them.
Don't send it.
I guess he did it. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. You always got my back.
I got it. I'll get your back to prevent the skinwalkers from tearing out your front.
Oof. I don't want to talk about that.
All right.
Sundance.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Who'd you see? Why? How? Why? And where? And everything.
It's a Park City, Utah.
Uh-huh.
You've been there with me before. Actually, like the 4 out of the last 5 years, I think. You've shown up briefly, haven't you?
Yeah. I think it's been longer than that, since 13, 14 anyway.
Yeah.
No, has it only been? I guess it is only 5 years.
So, I mean,
I made 18.
You got a lay of the land over there.
Let's go up that wrong canyon trying to get
it is a confusing place to drive I think Salt Lake is probably the worst, or not Salt Lake, but Utah in general. It's got to be the worst place to drive. Everybody's angry. Like, there's just a lot of honking. There's a lot of people getting the bird.
But they're Mormons, and they're supposed to be nice.
I thought so, but they're not. And not in a car, they're not. It
They're
doesn't
not
matter who
good.
you're with. They're just angry.
The elevation's too high. They're not getting enough oxygen.
Yeah. Blood's flowing to their toes.
Nobody likes sweaty feet.
That's true, and they certainly don't either. But yeah, I saw 17 films this year.
17.
I liked 5 of them. Mm-hmm.
That's quite a differential there.
Yeah, I didn't outright hate most of them. Here's the dilemma. That as well you and I have discussed off the air. But the tickets this year were $25, which is obscene for a movie.
It is.
So it's difficult to love a film that you're overpaying for.
Yeah, 25 is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean there's not a lot of good that comes from that. You get less and less every year. It's not an independent festival anymore.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had a film showing there, I'd be thrilled. But most of the films that I saw already had distribution well before the festival. So the indie part of it is dead.
What's the point of even?
That's a good question. That is a good question.
What? This
Riddle
guy.
me that.
This guy, Bobby Red. Bob Red?
Bob Red. It's like a
Bob Red.
Barbara Ann.
Red old guy. What's he doing up there? What's he down there? What's he doing?
Nothing, I think, is the appropriate answer. Ever since you and I have been going, he's been saying, I'm going to let this go. It's not really my scene anymore. And then he doesn't really let go.
No. He's always just going into the VR room, checking that out.
Yeah, he did some of that this year, yeah.
It's his one public appearance, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that, and he does like an actual press conference in the Egyptian. So no one can get in unless they're like a PR person.
Oh.
So
Did you get in?
No, didn't even try.
Oh. PR.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean? Pizza.
Paul
resistance?
Redford.
Paul Redford?
Yeah.
His brother?
Yeah.
You have to be his brother.
Got to be his brother.
To get in.
He gets one big seat.
Huh.
Yeah. Public relations.
Oh. Okay.
Or Paul Rudd.
Ant-Man?
Yeah. You got to be Ant-Man.
Oh, man. Well, I suppose, they'll let you in, but you could also, I'd probably shrink down. That's the way I would do it. He wouldn't even have to be invited that way.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They invite him, but they don't know if he shows up or not.
It's just like a ant on the wall, isn't he?
He's just an ant on a hot tin roof.
What would you do if you were an Ant-Man?
Probably wouldn't go to the Egyptian. It'd be really hard to embalm an ant. Like,
yeah, that's true.
How do you even? I don't even know. Like, the pharaohs would be perplexed.
I don't think it's possible.
Like, and how do you know if someone's walking like an Egyptian if you can't even see him walk?
That's a good question.
And King Tut, he would be disappointed.
I think he would. You know what I'd do?
I'd step on every step. I'd step harder, just in case you ran into him.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
I'd go big, and then I'd fight a giant squid.
A
kraken.
A war kraken.
Yep. That's what I'd do.
So, do you think that if you are smaller, do you think you could live in one of those air pocket bubbles that come up from the bottom? Do you think you could harness it and like get it to go back?
I guess I'd have to.
And then how would your plan of attack be for a war kraken?
Tie his arms in knots.
So you'd go small to get close. and then you.
No way. How am I gonna? I don't know.
Giant pretzel. You'd people's pretzel him. Yep. It's a lot of nacho cheese to cook that calamari.
It's true. I'd grab his ink squirter and I'd shove it in his mouth, and then I'd squeeze it until his mouth was full of his own ink, and then he choked and he drowned in his own ink.
Drown his own ink.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's how I'd kill a giant.
I think they really made a mistake. Nobody needs that much ink. Like Shakespeare didn't use that much ink. They should have had it full of nacho cheese. Now we're talking.
That's a book I'd eat.
That's a book I would eat. Yeah, rather than a scratch and sniff, it's like a eat and read. Yeah. A read.
The pages are made out of tortilla chips.
Yep. See, that just you just solved education right there.
We better trademark that.
Better write that down on a tortilla chip.
I ate the patent. Damn it.
You live and you learn, I guess.
I guess so. Next time.
Next time we come up with a great idea, we'll make sure we have some tortilla around.
Ideas, yeah.
Tortilla the Hun.
Tortilla the Hun.
Yeah. He's another great explorer.
Yeah. Explorer.
Of the sea.
Just keeps getting more and more interesting here.
I mean, history is a lie.
Think so?
Most of it.
You're probably right.
We could read about it while we ate, but no one developed it soon enough to save our education. I mean, accelerated reader would have been a lot more popular.
That's true. Boy, it would be real popular. Maybe the reason there's no, history from no books from a long time ago is because they were already making it out of nachos.
I mean, Solomon's Temple, they ate it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
I think, and then at some point they're like, hey, we really need to keep these books. We better switch from such tasty
They tried to save it with
material.
Roman orgy, but then it just came out back up in vomit. It didn't work.
Yeah, I'm sure one of them thought that was good.
Probably
Those
one
freaks.
Caligula.
What a weirdo, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's dead, so that's fine.
He didn't exist.
Yeah, it's
Bullshit.
It's a bunch of propaganda from the war kraken.
What makes a war kraken a war kraken?
He has to be wielding a weapon in 4 out of his 8 tentacles.
4 out of 8. What kind of weapons?
I mean,
Is he throwing sea stars like
the
ninjas?
war
like
kraken is
shurikens?
formidable. Sea stars would be good. Yeah, I mean, they just keep. You can't defeat them because if you break them down, they just grow back and they're more dangerous. It's like a sea star hydra.
Oof.
The most fearsome hydra is a sea star. Everybody thinks they're cute and adorable, but no, they are fearsome and they will kill you.
I saw one walking on the internet the other day. Oh, it's creepy.
No, have you seen an octopus walk on land? That's
Not
creepy.
in real life.
Oh yeah, no, there is
Fun,
one
yeah.
that goes from water to water. It is unnerving.
Sea creatures are freaky.
None of them are good. They're all villains.
I mean, what about there's some fish that look nice out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, on the other side of double pane glass, they're fine.
It's true. I wouldn't want to run into any of those.
No, I mean they can smell blood and fear, and that's what makes the war kraken so dangerous.
Well, I'll be in an Ant-Man suit. That'll be fine.
That's true. Yeah, you can actually
Choke
go
him
into
with
like
his own ink.
nano subatomic
I suppose that would be the better
level.
way to go. Just go inside and puncture a hole in his
I mean,
giblets.
then what do you do?
I run inside his body.
What do you do with the carcass once you've defeated him?
I'll let all the worms at the bottom of the ocean eat them. Because they're on those sulfur vents. Or maybe I'd bring them back up, make a tie out of them for my Ant-Man. I'd have to go bigger.
I mean, I think if I were you, I'd get back to full size, and then I would use him as a shower curtain.
That's pretty good. Be pretty big shower.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, you win.
I think it would be appropriate.
You win.
I mean, then you just.
You always do.
Yeah, I mean, you start every morning looking at your biggest victory.
Well, that's not my biggest victory.
And you know what I would say every morning when I took a shower in front of that carcass?
What's that?
Call me Ishmael.
It's not your name.
Call me Ishmael, I'd say. And he wouldn't because he's dead.
That'd be frustrating.
Well, I mean, most of my conversations are one-sided anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to.
We digress.
I mean, yeah, I don't have chips and salsa in front of me, so I have to.
Man, I really want to get one of those books.
Yeah, an edible nacho cheese book.
Sounds good.
It sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Reading is delicious.
Boy, it's one time I'd want to read like a Tolstoy. So much writing on that.
Anna Karenina.
I want to get the, just as
Shogun.
much words on there as I can, so I get all that cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd be devouring those Russian.
Devour that dictionary.
Ooh, that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm. But you know, when you were when you were downstairs in the ocean, attacking the war kraken.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd still be able to hear things going on down there?
It's a pretty good question.
What kind of things do you think you'd be able to hear?
Whales.
What do you think they sound like?
Like that?
Okay, all right.
What do you think they sound like?
I think they sound like this.
It's been so long, I completely forgot all about that. The lead-in. The transition, which is always so eloquent.
It's always a smooth rider.
Zig, 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 wig. It's time for the next segment. Zig, zig, it's called Nomads. It's a week.
I mean, we've podcast a couple times, but they've been holiday podcasts.
Yeah.
So the last time that we actually did a numerical order within our stringer
was a long Good Friday.
Long Good Friday.
It was like September last year.
And we connected Pierce Brosnan, which was, I think, his first film role, period, in the Long Good Friday.
PB period.
To Nomads, 1986.
86. Where does this fall in his movieography?
His filmography?
That's the one.
So I looked it up because I was curious about that myself, and
he didn't look as young as I was expecting him to look.
Yeah, because he looked very young in the Long Good Friday.
He did.
So this happens right after Steel. Magnum Steel? Is that a thing?
I think that's something from Anchorman.
That's Zoolander.
Okay.
Blue Steel and Magnum.
Okay, all right.
Remington Steele. That's the one. Remington Steele is the name of his TV show where he was a thief and then he worked with a lady detective.
Okay.
And that's what made him famous.
Still sounds like a Zoolander thing.
So Remington Steele happened after the Long Good Friday, but this Nomads is directed by McTiernan and starring Pierce Brosnan, and it is his first film lead.
Okay.
So,
boy,
yeah.
I wonder how he feels about it.
I think we might get into that a little bit.
Okay.
Do you want to cover what you think the film should have been? Synopsis that.
We got to read the real one.
All right, you read the real one, and I will. Then I'll summarize what I think it should have been about.
Either way, if you want to read that, it doesn't matter.
I'll read what's actually synopsis that, and then you tell me what you think it should have been. A French anthropologist specializing in nomadic groups moves to Los Angeles with his wife and starts following a group of sinister street punks who seem to live and move around a black van. But they aren't what they seem. That's that's it. Yeah.
Okay. There's this doctor, right? And she's at the hospital working like a doctor does, and then all of a sudden there's this crazy guy screaming French in there, and it's who do you? She goes in, and what do you know? It's our old buddy 007 PB period, and he's screaming, and she's trying to calm him down, but he scratches her, and then he dies. He croaked.
Just dead.
Yeah, he died. He croaked.
Boom.
He wasn't okay.
Wait. When you say croaked, you mean frogs?
Frogs!
Frogs! Is that the kind of croak?
Yeah.
All right. Turn into a frog.
He turned into... I'm the cutest prince of the pond.
When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie.
Yeah, I'm the one for you.
That's a Nomads.
Anyways, he scratched her, right?
Yeah, he did. He done scratched her. Right in the earlobe.
He's turned into a frog. He went away. But now she's going... She got Jason goes to hell, and now she's him, and there's a flashback. I think gets a little confusing, but then we see Pierce and his wife, and they just moved to town, and they're French, and he's an anthropologist, and there's these street punks, and they love his house and him, or no, he loves them, and they graffiti his house, so he starts following them around. He wants to know. He's an anthropologist. He gotta know what that's all about. And then now we're the doctor again.
Mm-hmm.
She had a hemorrhage in her brain, but she's fine.
She's fine.
No problem.
Little stigmata, but she pulled through.
And then we're back to Pierce, and he's taking pictures of a girl's underwear.
Yep.
Next thing you know, he's throwing a guy off a roof.
Yep.
And then the doctor is having sex with his wife.
Yep.
And then he's a biker.
Yeah. You know, that it seems confusing, but you nailed all the main points.
They did it.
Yeah, they did. They did it.
And there's a nun.
Yeah. So the nun was played by the grandma in Happy Gilmore.
I thought she looked awful familiar, but
Yeah.
I couldn't quite place it.
Yeah.
I was thinking she was the lady from Seinfeld. I think that is
It
the
is.
same.
It's the same lady.
It is.
Yep.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
With
but
is it the marbled bread? Marbled rye? Marbled rye.
Yeah.
It's
It's funny. I guess she was young.
yeah. I mean, it's 86. Just everything about it seemed good,
Yeah.
and
it
I was
an
never
interesting-
I was never really angry watching it. I
Mhm.
was more just really confused. It seems like they cut some key points out and just said we'll figure it out.
Yeah, they certainly didn't tie it up in a neat little bow by any means.
No.
And it is an interesting case of being very well made, acted, shot, except for Pierce's fake French accent. I thought that was a little tough to believe at points.
Yeah, I've got some trivia. Do you mind if I read some trivia?
Hit me.
All right, so there's going to be some fun things. I'm going to read what's written, and I'm going to read some other things I found out. So, Arnold Schwarzenegger stated in his memoir, Total Recall, that he was so impressed by this film's tense atmosphere, made on a low budget, $2.3 million, that he convinced the producers to hire John McTiernan to direct Predator.
Huh.
From this movie.
Interesting.
When you saw this film with me,
Yeah.
just moments ago. Now, you have made some films. If you saw this, do you think, I'm going to call up my guy, and we're going to hire him, and we're going to make him a master of suspense and action?
I would think he did a pretty good job shooting it, but written and directed, correct?
Written and directed.
I don't know.
And
It
the
wouldn't be
writing...
my first one to go to at the very.
No, I would
very
agree.
least.
This is, like as we discussed, Pierce Brosnan's first leading role in a feature film. The voice of the professor from Boston over the phone is the director's cameo,
Oh, okay.
which was very misplaced within the film,
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Well, you need to get in there.
Pierce Brosnan worked again with John McTiernan on the Thomas Crown Affair in 1999.
Okay.
Anna Maria Monticelli, she's the French woman, the wife, and John McTiernan were in a relationship, and Isabella Monticelli McTiernan is their daughter. Not sure you would have guessed that from the name.
I sure would.
So this goes to Pierce Brosnan at one point while he's following these nomads. Finds them in a dark alley.
Yep.
And there is a woman that starts dancing up on him. And he just starts taking pictures of her.
It seemed to me like he purposely alerted them to his presence by hitting the shutter in quick succession.
That whole scene didn't make any sense to me, but I don't understand why he alerted them, and I also don't understand why she responded by giving him like a weird striptease on a car.
And why they let him go.
Right. So anyway, that's Mary Woronov. Her character name is Dancing Mary. And she is evidently a famous underground artist and genre actress who appeared in films by Andy Warhol, including the underground classic Chelsea Girls, 1966, as well as numerous cult classic films of the 70s, 80s, 90s, including Death Race 2000, Rock and Roll High School, and Night of the Comet.
Seen one of those.
I don't know that I want to follow her down this rabbit hole.
I'd be okay with it.
This film is included in Fangoria's 101 Best Horror Films You've Never Seen. That was my reaction as well.
It's not even really a horror movie.
No, I'm not even sure.
Psychological.
They say it's supernatural.
Oh yeah, sure. I can buy that. I guess very light on the supernatural. But sure.
So based on the cover, and I've run into a little bit of this where they try to promote the cover regardless of what's in the film.
Yeah.
But on the cover, it is supposed to be ghosts that he's running from, and it just does not come across as that in this at all. I mean, you kind of get that impression that based on the ending that people who die in California just end up haunting you, I guess. This just a weird...
I was going to say, when you say that the mismatched director's call to the guy in Boston, he gave a lot of important information about what was going on in this film. If we hadn't had that phone call...
Yeah, but I still don't understand where the phone call came from. I don't understand why it was initiated, why it was instigated. It's just this information, and I'm pretty sure that woman's name, who comes back later to try to help again, and again randomly calls this house that she has no connection with. I think her name was Kathy, and if that's true, this is the only film she ever made.
Kathy?
Yep.
I like she said fuck a lot, and then she didn't seem like her character would say fuck so much, but
No, it was...
she said it.
It was more of a miracle tie-in. I think... I was going to ask you this. What do you think the alternate title for this should have been?
Did you have one in your head?
Yes, because of Kathy's character specifically and the two occasions we see here, I thought that they should have just called this film, and then this happened.
I don't think it's quite that bad.
It was just all very convenient.
Well, it was convenient.
Everything that her character was involved with.
Kathy, you mean?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, all right. Because of the... Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant-
Josie Cotton, this is the second screen appearance for her. Famous British new wave musician and occasional actor Adam Ant appears as the leader of the gang, but has no dialogue. I think...
The one that gets thrown off the roof? He's not the leader?
I don't know. That character was named Pigtail. I don't think... I don't know if it was him or if it was the person who kept clenching his jaw.
Got bashed.
Yeah.
Behind the light post.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way that made it very clear that Pierce has never punched someone before.
But he has hidden a little gun in his Speedo.
That's true. In The Long Good Friday. So this film's soundtrack was done by the guy that did Rocky's soundtrack. But the heavy metal part of the film's highly atmospheric soundtrack was composed by famous rock musician Ted Nugent.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So, and there is a terrible French accent, and that's why I wanted to read this in the first place. The film's protagonist, Pommier, how did you say it?
Joe Shell.
Joe Shell, which is a better name, was originally meant to be played by legendary French actor Gerard Depardieu. But when he declined the role, Brosnan, an Irish actor who was at the time only known for his quite popular TV series Remington Steele, which ran from 82 to 87, about a female private detective who partners up with a former gentleman thief, immediately agreed to play it, believing that in order to avoid being typecast for the rest of his career, he'd need to prove that he can play roles other than those of English rogues or gentlemen.
It's funny.
It is.
He wasn't wrong.
No, it just didn't help.
No.
Nita Foch, classic film noir star and scream queen of the 1940s and 50s, crime and horror films by Columbia Pictures, appears only briefly in a sequence near the beginning as the real estate agent, and I have no memory of that.
Unless it's the old lady that must...
Could have been, yeah. I don't know. And in the beginning, in the hospital, Dr. Benway is paged over the hospital intercom. Dr. Benway is a recurring character in the works of William Burroughs' most notable Naked Lunch, and I have no idea what that means. Huh. All right, so that is the IMDb trivia. Here is where we get into some fun things. So earlier you referenced this film reminded you of what other film?
Die Hard.
Why?
Because when Pigtail gets thrown off the roof, it looks very similar.
To
our
so
buddy,
this film, Hans Gruber. This film came out in 86.
Yeah.
Die Hard came out in 88.
They copied this.
Guess who directed Die Hard?
Oh shit! This guy.
This guy.
Fuck.
Yep. Really.
Huh. That's interesting.
It is weird.
Is this his first directing?
This is his first directing.
Then he went to Predator to...
He went from this to Predator. And then right after Predator, he did Die Hard 1. And then he did Die Hard 3. He did The Last Action Hero. He did The Hunt for Red October, I think is why he had to say no to the other film you referenced earlier.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason Goes to Hell. He was supposed to direct.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Huh.
He was supposed to direct Jason Goes to Hell. Last Action Hero came out the same year, so that was the one that kept him from doing Jason Goes to Hell. So yeah, he's done.
I was right.
He's done 11. He's directed 11 things. In order, he's done Nomads, Predator, Die Hard, The Hunt for Red October, Medicine Man, Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Thomas Crown Affair, 13th Warrior, Rollerball, and Basic.
I like 13th Warrior. That's a pretty good, cool movie.
What threw his career off was Rollerball.
Is that the one with Ellen Page?
No, that's Whip It.
Rollerball.
Rollerball with Jean Reno and LL Cool J and Rebecca Romaine.
Huh.
It has a IMDb rating of 3 of 10. What happened is he was recording his producer, I think, during that, and the feds got involved, and he got fined a bunch of money, and I think he had to serve some jail time.
Recording his producer?
There was some fight, and so he, like, wherever they were didn't have you had to say that you were taping somebody, I guess.
Oh.
He got in trouble in that for that again later in a divorce. So,
Huh.
Yeah.
So now
Kind of like a Nixon tapes issue.
Yeah.
So, strange. I just thought that it was very ironic that the two films that both you and I thought of, he was directly and indirectly involved with.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. And all, like...
It's funny. Pretty prominent movie, especially for you.
Yeah.
I did not. What's his name? Linklater?
John McTiernan.
It's close.
Close. Yeah. What was your favorite line?
What did it was Kathy. What did she say?
Look for the fucking answering machine.
Yeah.
I think that's what she said.
I liked the line of the main girl. I have no idea what her name was. She would just like randomly stare off into the distance, like she'd been through Vietnam.
Yeah, she was having a flashback.
And
into Pierce's life.
I still don't know if it was a flashback, a vision. I have no idea. This film takes place in so many. Like
I've told you what happened.
You're right. I don't know why I don't understand what happened. She just stares off into the distance and says, "The carpet's fine. I like the color." I was like, all right, whatever.
I think that was a little peak of Pierce.
Sure. I don't. It kind of was a sign of the times that the doctors at the beginning were telling her that she like needed a wife and to get a job fixing her kids' teeth. She said she was married. At no point do we see any evidence of that.
That's true.
I think that this movie would have been better or significantly different in a good way if bringing out the dead had happened first. It seemed like they were trying to do that like trippy edit, and then bringing out the dead just brought it to a different level, right. I guess. The line or the song that I'm a stranger lost in the night. Mm-hmm. That was a Ted Nugent original just for this movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Like a demon right out of hell. Yeah.
Is this a Linklater fellow, this director? See that right wing?
I have no idea. Not a clue. This movie
went down big time with that stupid.
How would you describe an anthropologist?
He's a guy who studies a specific type of or a lady, excuse me, who studies a certain type of people.
Like you find a
tribe somewhere, you study that tribe. Or you say the Egyptians, and you study the Egyptians. Now you're going to say something real funny.
No, just as described by Pierce Brosnan, and the only time that he is directed, the only time that it is, I guess, significant where he tries to explain what he's doing, but could also, throughout this film, he could be described as voyeur or a pedophile. Not really, like not a pedophile, but like he does a lot of weird things with the camera.
Yeah, he does.
So, I guess voyeurism rather than a pedophile. But the only time he tries to, the way he describes his job is, I mostly watch people. That's verbatim.
I don't think he said it. I don't think he went, I mostly watch people. I don't think he said it like that.
I mean, you can watch it and tell me I'm wrong. Watch it again.
Watch
it again.
No.
I don't know. It was just a strange thing to make him an anthropologist who was constantly running, like going through cultures that had actual nomads, and then they come to the United States in black leather and a black van and being punks.
Well, that was the... I mean, I don't understand that part of it, but they were essentially saying nowadays were the
new nomads. And apparently they're ghosts.
Yeah, evidently they're ghosts. So I guess I don't...
Anyhow.
the doctor that does he infect the doctor
I
because
believe
she comes
so.
into contact with him, or
I think
because
it-
he
I think
draws blood?
I think it's because he drew blood because he touched other people and other people touched.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Did they the biker kids, did they draw blood on him to infect him?
It never shows
Yeah.
him being directly like what leads him to
Right.
the hospital. The whole time you're thinking, all right, we're just going to get
Right.
something going. No, they never directly address
They didn't,
that.
did they?
The most contact that he comes into is with the nun witch,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no blood there.
Maybe you have to choose to do it.
So they were
Anyways,
trying to describe
he
that he had
definitely-
lost his mind.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain why he's able to infect the doctor.
That's true. I don't think he really lost his mind. Yeah, he probably did. I don't know.
In that, so he's able to infect the mind, like with worms, of this doctor lady.
Yep.
She can't shake him, so she goes and tracks down his girlfriend, wife, lady,
I believe it was wife.
She sleeps with her.
I don't think we were supposed to think that they slept together. It just looked like they did.
Well, it keeps cutting back and forth to Pierce
I know,
Brosnan
I know.
sleeping with her, and then she's laying,
Okay,
wrapping her
alright.
naked body in the same sheet the next morning.
That's true.
I don't quite
But
understand
the
that
wife
whole
said
dynamic.
you slept on the couch.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It didn't look like that.
then she still can't. Then she starts speaking French.
Yeah, and she knew where everything was.
Yeah, like around the whole house, she knew where everything was.
Yep.
And then they make a run for it out of California, even though in Pierce Brosnan, who's now a ghost biker nomad.
Yeah, we don't know.
He's part of Bikers Chicks from Zombie Town. He's the head Ringo now.
Mm-hmm.
He follows them to the California border, then turns around. So the whole time, we're supposed to believe that these nomads are following him all the way around the world. He keeps naming these places that they've gone.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But they can't leave California. Like most of it, you start in the black face of a Inuit.
Yep.
And then the director cameo is explaining these Inuit thing, like the culture and how like you don't surprise somebody that you think might be a ghost when you're in the Arctic. And somehow they get trapped in the state of California.
Hey, I just work here. I don't write.
I mean, thankfully he did not get the big movies as a writer. He got them as a director.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they could leave California. I don't know. That really doesn't make any sense at all. I hadn't realized that he, at some point, said that they were following him around everywhere he'd been.
Well, when he's in that tirade after he comes back from shooting the street dancer, he's talking about how he didn't call her in the last 36 hours, his wife, because he was worried that he would scare her, and that then he does this like weird thing on like these nomads that they've been seeing everywhere.
Yeah.
They've gone.
Well, I
and
remember.
listing
Yeah, I
these
remember
places,
that.
and you're seeing the pictures, and the nomads have been there all the way along, and now they're here.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know if that necessarily means it's the same nomads following him around, just that he happens. Anyway, I suppose it would have to be, though.
I think the only thing to take away from this film is that drugs are bad.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, don't do them. Unless it's fun for you, but
Honestly,
moderate.
don't
Yes.
understand. Like, this film had a $2.3 million budget.
Pretty low.
I mean, low enough to impress Arnold.
Wow, they only had $2.3 million.
And after seeing, I mean, again, he's very competent directing. Visually, I have no quarrel with it.
It had I thought a John Carpenter feel, to be honest.
Yeah.
Creeping cameras and like the lighting.
What was the film that we watched for your Halloween special this year? That French, or was it Spanish? The Spanish ballet. Suspiria. Reminded me a lot of that, actually.
Yeah, sure.
Like,
Okay.
visually, fine. The story didn't make any sense at all.
That's true.
Actually, one thing I did like about Pierce Brosnan is it's strange that he picked up bad habits from here. because I liked him as everything about it except his accent. His accent was bad, but it makes more sense that they stuck with that since it was written for a Frenchman.
Right.
Weird that they didn't just change it to an Irishman. Seemed like an easy fix, but he usually does this weird thing, especially when he's trying to be sexy, from like Bond on, where he'll like overbite on his bottom jaw and like bite his back molars.
I know what you mean.
Not once did he do that this whole film.
Do that again. That's sexy. Man, you're looking good.
Looking good, looking like Pierce. I don't know that it's always bothered me that he's done that, and now it bothers me more since it's a habit he picked up after this film.
Yeah.
But I liked him in this. I thought he was good. He's probably the most tan Irishman I've ever seen.
That's agreed.
But
that's agreed. I agree.
So, pop quiz.
Yeah,
What do these things actually mean in the context of this film? And what order do they actually belong in? And C, why don't I understand them?
Okay.
Pigs, kill, sex, death. Gutman's a hero.
It's a very good question. I don't have any answers to that at all.
Because the Nomads are putting this graffiti on his house.
Sex, death, pigs kill. Gutman's a hero.
Gutman's a hero.
Who's Gutman?
Honestly, I went through the cast list.
No Gutman?
There's no Gutman. I don't understand.
Maybe since they're nomads, like the Gutman of the Inuits, this guy that took all the guts out of a seal. That's their hero, the Gutman.
The Sphinx Gutman?
The Gutman.
Yeah, no, again, flipping through...
Yeah, the graffiti didn't make really any sense. I mean, if it does...
It was supposed...
It's very convoluted and not easy to...
Yeah, it was supposed to drive him to be on the edge in this black van that was kind of stalking him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Supposed to tip him over the edge, but no.
After one previous encounter.
Right, once it was squealing down his main street.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the pigs. And then the next time it like slowly rolls down in neutral past his driveway. Maybe that's death. And then they kill him, and then his lady that he lays worms in the brain of has sex with his wife, and then maybe that Kathy's last name is Gutman and she's a hero.
Maybe the nun's the Gutman.
Oh yeah, the nun could be the Gutman, even though they transition from her as a normal-looking nun in the dark to
spooky stuff.
Yeah, she does like a full transition into a skeleton, and then falls into oblivion.
I mean, I guess that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And she was warning him, and then she tried to. I don't know.
She can't help herself.
There's a lot that I don't understand.
I got it all.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you're on point.
Always am.
Yeah, sharp as a tack.
That's what they called me in high school.
You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for those nomads, man. They're gonna get you.
Ticky tacky.
I knew, this whole time I knew there was something about these guys in the van that there was more to them than meets the eye. I knew it.
And what is that?
Oh, that there's some sort of goldarn spooks, ghostsies.
So the cover, look up, like even if you don't watch this movie, just look at the cover, the poster artwork for it, because it's just Pierce Brosnan screaming, and with ghosts behind him.
Yeah, well, that's more than meets the eye, because what met the eye was humans.
And I guess it's strange. He is a lead in this film, but I would almost say that the woman, the Leslie Ann Down actress, I'd say that she is the lead.
I think you're probably right as far as the narrative goes, but I think he probably had more screen time, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Which makes more, which takes precedence over the other.
But with Silence of the Lambs, who would you say that movie's about? Jodie Foster?
Clarice.
Would you? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
What do you think it's about?
Well,
Buffalo Bill?
I think it's about Hannibal.
Nah. You're nuts.
And Anthony Hopkins is only in that movie for 16 minutes.
Yeah, so it's not about it.
All right, well, he's probably hunting the nomads now. I mean,
could be.
How do you take a face off a ghost?
Remember when he did that?
I don't know how you do that. Sounds like opening a Snapple.
Yeah, it's probably what it is.
You got any Snapple?
I do not have a Snapple. We do not have them as a
What
sponsor.
good are
We
you?
will not abide.
What good
We
are
will-
you to me
we-
then?
We are working on YooHoo as a sponsor of this show.
Boo.
Boo-hoo for YooHoo.
Thanks for the money. Your drink sucks.
Kill pig, sex, death.
Kill pigs.
Six death.
Gutman's a hero. Well, do you have anything left to say
No,
about
not
this?
really. Thoroughly confusing movie.
Yeah.
It's
Not the worst thing.
you'll ever see.
It's not the worst thing we've seen.
No, not by a long shot.
So what would you rate it?
I'd give her, if I was doing sex with Saw,
I'd give her sex.
Really?
a hug at the end of the first date.
All right.
I think that's, it's just barely over 50%.
So I think we're pretty close then. I rented this on Amazon for $2.99.
I owe you
the-
some money for that. We
The
watched
bummer of
together.
it is that I rented it twice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because I rented it right after we did the Long Good Friday.
Back in September.
So
Silly
I'm just
boy.
gonna split that difference and say it's probably worth $1.99
Out of
out of $5.99. $5.98 out of $5.98.
your rating gets so convoluted.
I know it does, and it's just because it's hard because not all the prices are the
It's
same.
crystal clear though.
If the prices were all the same, it
Right.
would make a lot more sense, but it's not. I mean,
And
I
things
can't
happen.
control that.
I think it was Superman 2. I spent rented it 3 times.
Right. And we both watched 2 different films.
Yeah.
and then on Brewster, like there was no rental available. So that
There
was a
was too.
$9.99
There was
movie.
too.
Not for me. You know, it on iTunes, but Amazon does not offer a rental. So I still have that. But on this
You have
one,
to show me that. I haven't seen the physical copy of it. I need to take a look at it.
I'll show you after the podcast.
Okay.
So on this one, and that's the thing. It's not physical. It was only a digital download to
Oh.
buy on. So it's on my Kindle.
Just delete it.
But I own it. Like, I mean, I can delete it, but it's still in. It's still in my
I don't know, I see.
playlist. Even if I
got
delete
you,
it, it's like,
got
do
you.
you want to download it? Whereas if I owned a hard copy of this, I would have sold that back.
Of this? Of
No,
Nomad.
of Brewster. Nomads, I don't know. Like it's confusing to me that it's like this weird. It's got a cult following, and it's not because of early actors in it. It's that people think it's much more intelligent than I guess I give it credit for being. I think it's an interesting first film.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad script, and I think
I would
that he was
agree.
lucky to have it made. Especially since
I
it's
don't know
not
how they-
independent. Like, this is not an independent film that somebody scrapped money together to go
Right.
make. This is a studio MGM film that he got $2.3 million to make. And if you're looking at a piece of paper and you're going to give that amount of money to something, it has to make sense. And it just doesn't.
It's true.
And I think it was probably, at the time that they made it, it probably wasn't common for things to be back and forth and you not really to know what's going on. And that probably played to their benefit. But I don't know. I was not overly impressed with anything other than the shooting, and the lighting was fantastic, and the acting was adequate, but the story was trash.
I agree.
So I guess I'd
Certainly,
give
I
it
guess
more
I
of
have
like a
to-
35%,
35%.
and you have a 51,
Hey, somebody. I mean,
so like a 44.
Yep.
Yeah,
seems fair.
yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't see cult following. Huh? I guess I'd have to watch it again. Maybe I think I would.
I don't think I'd watch it again. I mean, we have 40 hours to do so if you have the rental.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah, pass. All right.
Thanks.
That brings us to the next segment.
What's that? I don't remember no more.
Kalima! Choose your death.
It was very anticlimactic. You normally do get into that a lot more.
Yeah. I just thought I'd bring it back home. I'll better it for next time. That's fine.
You better.
I will better.
Okay.
I'll do more better. All right, so I'm going to give you 5 options.
PB. PB, what was it? PB original?
PB period.
Period. PB period.
PB period. All right, so I'm gonna give you. Do you want me to read the synopsis to you as I go?
Yeah,
What's
that's
easy?
fine.
All right. So it's gonna take me a minute, but here's what we're gonna do. Leslie Ann Down played what I consider the lead in this movie.
She was not the lead.
I consider her
She
the
wasn't
lead.
Pierce Brosnan was the lead.
So for first,
Supporting actress.
your first option is Dark House. When Nick
Ooh.
DeSanto learns that his father is not only alive, but can possibly reveal the origin of his son's dark gift, he sets out on a trip that takes him to an abandoned mansion he thought only existed in his childhood imagination.
Dark gift, huh? What do you think of that is? I'd like to find out.
Probably something sinister.
Do you think there's going to be more to it than meets the eye?
I doubt it. The guy on the poster has an axe. So
An axe.
yeah.
Is there more to it than meets the eye, or is it just normal axe?
No, nothing. Just
normal axe.
just normal
That's
axe.
disappointing.
I mean, the kind of axe that any normal person would have.
Okay.
That's all. All right,
What was
next.
it, the year on that? It's probably too late, huh?
No, hang on, I can get it for you. It is the year on that is. Ooh, it's hard to do this on a phone.
82.
No,
96.
heavens to Betsy, no.
53.
2014.
2014.
2014. All right. Now, next, and these next two are interesting, and I'm going to give you some of the other people in them because it's
Okay.
interesting.
Okay.
All right. So the next one on the list is Rough Cut. Two sophisticated jewel thieves join forces to steal 30 million in uncut jewels. Despite a continuous exchange of quips, they eventually become romantically involved. Co-starring Burt Reynolds.
He did.
He did. All right, and that is a 1980.
80? Okay.
After that is Hanover Street, co-starring Christopher Plummer and Harrison Ford, along with Leslie Ann Down, who we're connecting right now. Margaret is a nurse in England during World War II and married to a secret agent. Things get complicated when she falls for David, an American pilot.
Who's the secret agent?
I assume Christopher Plummer.
Is he wearing old man makeup? So he looks like what I recognize him as?
Probably. They have the same practical effects artist as The Exorcist.
I don't know if I know what he looks like young.
Didn't you ever see The Sound of Music?
Oh, that was him.
Yeah, he's the
dad?
He's the dad. That is a
long time.
1979 movie. Ooh, I forgot about this. Damn it. I'm gonna add one to the list.
Oh, for crying out loud.
1978. Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland, The Great Train Robbery. And if I would remember that, I would have just given it to you. Victorian England, a master criminal makes elaborate plans to steal a shipment of gold from a moving train. All right, and then Frank Doubleby.
Double B?
Doubleday. Sorry, Frank Doubleday
Double
is the actor in Space Rage.
Space Rage. Ooh.
Yeah, 1985. In this sci-fi western film set 200 years from now, a bank robber, Grange, is captured and sentenced to a penal colony in the mining planet Proxima Centauri 3, where he meets bounty hunter Walker and the Colonel, a retired policeman from LA, who is considered the best of his kind. Grange is a dangerous lunatic, and Walker and the Colonel must team up to keep him from escaping. All right, and then one last one.
Oh, Jesus.
I gotta remember who we are connecting. Oh yeah, same guy, Frank Doubleday. 1991, a film called Doll Man. A hard-boiled intergalactic policeman lands on Earth where he is only 12 inches tall.
What's the Doll Man?
Doll Man.
Doll Man. Well, I think you know what I'd like to pick.
Well, you gotta
My
tell
question
me.
is... Holy cow, the mic fell down.
Because I hit it. In this great train robbery,
Yeah.
is there more to this train than meets the eye?
No.
Just
So
a train?
you've really never seen? I should have asked. Have you seen any of those?
I mean, unless there's more than these.
No.
More. If there's something more to these than meets the eye, then no, I haven't.
And the Great Train Robbery, which is interesting because I'm sure we won't cover that one. One of the first technically action films ever made is 12 minutes, made by Edison.
Mhm.
And it's just like 12 shots that go on about a train heist. This is Sean Connery and Donald Sutherland, who are, I guess, the thieves of their day. And they like use these wax molds, and it's kind of like Ocean's 11 set in Victorian England.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I mean, Space Rage sounds pretty cool. That's immediately when you. I mean, just the name.
When I saw a sci-fi western, literally what went through my mind was, "Fuck."
Yeah, I'm watching that.
Yeah.
Boy, I really want to pick Space Rage.
I mean, you certainly can. I was actually, and it's because we had Pierce Brosnan and who wasn't famous at the time, and a woman who probably was more famous at the time. So we had options to choose from this time. So I did 50-50. Like three of those movies of the six are actually pretty well to do, and then the other three, I feel like we probably haven't heard of for a reason.
Space Rage is one of them.
Yes, it's one of those.
I mean, why'd you have to tempt me with that? I would be happy.
No,
if that wasn't in there, I would have given you a Great Train Robbery.
No, here's the
question.
thing. No question.
Space Rage in
no
there.
no question. Because if Space Rage wasn't there, we'd be watching Doll Man, which is about a guy who comes back with a sheriff's badge and is 12 inches tall. And we spent the first half of this podcast talking about Ant-Man.
And we saw 50-Foot Cheerleader. Why don't we want to see
the opposite? Yeah. So really, I knew when I gave you more options, we were going to come back to those two. I just tried to tempt you, do the little move and shake. I mean, if it were me, it'd be tough between Hanover Street Rough Cut and Great Train Robbery. But
and for me, it's Space
Dark
Rage
House,
and Doll Man.
Space Rage, and Doll Man. Exactly 50-50.
Oh, fine. Great Train Robbery.
No. If you want,
you were gonna. If you had remembered, you were just going to.
But I didn't remember, and I have that. We can watch that off book if you want to. But Space Rage. What are the chances that we ever watch that again?
I mean, that's pretty.
If you want to watch Space Rage or Doll Man,
I do.
I pick one. All right. So Frank Doubleday. So that we're on the same page.
All right.
Frank Doubleday is the actor that we are connecting. Space Rage is the film that we are watching. And what was that? 71?
I didn't write that one down for some reason. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I have that pulled up still, I think. I am curious about Doll Man. 1985.
Oh, baby, this is going to be good.
All right. Space Rage it is.
You should have just... Look, I threw you the bone.
Now, you saved that bone for Mae West.
She needs it.
Man, this is gonna be interesting. Like, we're going back down the dark rabbit hole.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what we do. I also feel like it's just we don't cover popular good movies, you know?
That's true.
It's kind of the unwritten rule.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. It's nice to have a few gems in there, but Space Rage it is.
I guess we've done plenty.
All right, team.
Okay.
We got through one. It wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was horrible.
No, it was. I mean, don't go run out to see it.
No, I think what makes this film fun for me is the trivia attached to it.
There's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like you thought it was a Jason film or a nightmare film. Sorry.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Jason.
Yeah, just a Jason movie. Like, and it almost was.
Yeah.
It was like a precursor, probably to influence.
I think it's interesting.
And then the first thing I thought of when Pigtail fell off the building was like, oh my God, that's Die Hard. And then the same guy made Die Hard. That's crazy.
Copied himself.
Yeah. So that's fun. But, yeah, overall, not that great.
You're wearing a scary ring.
Mm-hmm. It's because the Nomads got me.
Skeleton. Oh, gosh. I need to find that. I need to find Gutman.
Gutman's a hero.
Where's Gutman? PB period. Where
I
are
swear
you?
to Gutman.
PB period.
All right.
Gutman.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Don't be a sucker.
Okay, love you, bye. The portions of today's broadcast that you actually enjoyed are brought to you in whole by... Do you wake up exhausted?
I do.
Are you tired of being tired?
Extremely.
Well, sleep can be hard. It can be even harder when you're hard.
Come again?
That's what we're trying to stop with our new Dixon briefs.
Underwear?
Knock on wood. So much more than just underwear.
Sounds expensive.
Not today. Use our promo, Sleep Hard, and get a one-time right now free pair for your nether weathers.
Weathers?
You're the bellwether kid. Let those sleigh bells ring.
What makes them so special?
There's a pillow inside, a mini bed on which to rest your weary head.
I mean, I guess I'll take one just to leave this conversation.
Perfect. Here, try 'em on.
There's no dressing room.
What's the problem? I gotta check your inseam.
Nope, I'm out of here.
Don't lose your head. Today's your chance to sleep hard. Clear your head. It's time for bed. Dixon Briefs, for those of you who are up all night, even when you're sleeping.
Morningwood.